February 24th, 1944. Over the skies of Anzio, Italy. Two complete SCR-584 systems were hastily deployed into the fray on February 24th, 1944, and buried up to their trailer rooftops under cover of darkness. The following night witnessed 12 Nazi bombers entering the beachhead airspace, but 7 of them fell victim to the relentless fire from 90mm guns guided by SCR-584 radar. This unprecedented kill rate, 7 out of 12 bombers destroyed in complete darkness at a staggering 58% success rate, baffled German intelligence throughout the rest of the war, far surpassing all known standards of anti-aircraft effectiveness. Prior to this night, even under optimal daylight conditions, anti-aircraft guns managed an average kill ratio of just 1 aircraft for every 25 rounds fired. The surviving German crews reported witnessing something completely new. Flak bursts that seemed to anticipate their maneuvers, explosions appearing exactly where the planes would be seconds later, and artillery fire responding before they could make decisions. This was not due to superior marksmanship or sheer luck. It was the result of the SCR-584 radar system, a pioneering automatic tracking device utilizing microwave technology. This innovative system remained largely concealed from German forces throughout the war, systematically undermining the effectiveness of the Luftwaffe's operations. By flying into this engagement, the Germans unknowingly encountered the future of aerial warfare. The crisis for the Luftwaffe began in 1940, when British scientists shared their highly classified cavity magnetron technology with American counterparts through the Tizard Mission. This invention, crucial to developing powerful radar systems operating at a frequency of 10 centimeters, initiated a chain reaction whose full impact neither side could predict. While German radar development continued on conventional paths using meta-wave technology, researchers at MIT's Radiation Laboratory in America were pushing the boundaries with groundbreaking advancements. The SCR-584 was an extraordinary system capable of detecting aircraft up to 40 miles away and achieving range accuracy within 75 feet, operating at frequencies between 27.0 and 29.0 megahertz, 10 to 11 cm wavelength. It emitted pulses of 300 kilowatts lasting 0.8 microseconds at a pulse repetition frequency of 17.7 per second. German radar warning receivers designed to detect British radars operating between 200 and 600 megahertz were rendered completely ineffective against these emissions. The technological disparity extended beyond mere differences in frequency bands. It represented an entirely new dimension in the battle for air superiority. The SCR-584 utilized automatic tracking through conical scanning. The radar beam would rotate around its axis, forming a cone-shaped pattern capable of locking onto and following moving targets without human assistance. When paired with the M9 gun director, an analog computer equipped with 160 vacuum tubes, the system could determine firing solutions at a rate of 30 times per second, taking into account wind speed, air density, target velocity, and gravitational drop. The installation of this technology at Anzio represented a significant milestone in anti-aircraft warfare. For an entire week, there were no further aerial attacks. A lone aircraft was sent to test the defenses, but met its end immediately upon detection. By the end of that week, 10 additional systems had been set up, completely neutralizing the air threat over Anzio. German bomber crews, who had previously conducted successful raids on Allied positions for years, suddenly encountered an unprecedented level of resistance. The system's success was primarily due to its complete automation. Once a target was acquired by the SCR-584 operator and automatic tracking engaged, The radar would lock onto the aircraft and follow it, regardless of any evasive maneuvers attempted. The tracking data was then transmitted directly to the M9 director, which calculated where the shell and aircraft would intersect in the future. 4 synchronized 90mm guns, controlled by the director, moved in perfect unison with this information. German crew members reported witnessing a baffling phenomenon: flak bursts that appeared to anticipate their movements, exploding at the bottom of dives or along predicted flight paths. This was not random barraging, but precise targeting executed faster than human reflexes could react. In contrast, while German scientists were meticulously constructing radar units in small workshops, American industry adopted an automotive approach to mass-produce the SCR-584 with unprecedented efficiency. Approximately 17,000 of these systems were manufactured to provide robust air defense capabilities. Chrysler Corporation was the primary manufacturer, applying assembly line techniques that transformed radar production from a craft-based process into an industrial operation. By August 31, 1943, 610 SCR-584 units had been dispatched. On January 28, 1944, Dodge Division delivered system number 1,470, with an additional 628 sets provided to the U.S. Marine Corps, Coast Defense, and for spare parts, bringing the total count to 2,098 systems. The output from this single company exceeded Germany's entire radar production throughout the war period. The differences in industrial philosophy became evident through this comparison. German Würzburg radar sets demanded skilled technicians for assembly, with each unit being unique. In contrast, the SCR-584 utilized interchangeable parts and modular design, enabling quick field repairs by soldiers with minimal training. While Germany manufactured dozens of these units, America produced thousands. On June 6, 1944, the invasion involved 39 radar systems that successfully deterred Luftwaffe attacks on the beaches. These specially waterproofed radar units created an unprecedented protective shield over what was then the largest invasion fleet in history. One of only 2 Luftwaffe pilots to attack the invasion beaches on D-Day, Oberst Joseph Pips Priller, later provided testimony about his experience. During his post-war debriefing, he described encountering anti-aircraft fire that was unlike anything he had seen in 5 years of combat. It wasn't a barrage pattern, but aimed shots that compelled constant evasive maneuvers, making attacks nearly impossible to execute accurately. The Luftwaffe's failure at Normandy did not stem from a lack of courage or skill. Rather, it was due to the technological trap they encountered without understanding its implications. The few pilots who survived reported witnessing phenomena similar to what had been observed during the Battle of Anzio: anti-aircraft fire that appeared to anticipate their moves before they could even execute them. The most compelling evidence of the SCR-584's revolutionary capabilities was seen in defense against Hitler's V-1 flying bombs. These weapons, traveling at 400 miles per hour on a straight course at constant altitude, should have been easy targets for conventional anti-aircraft methods. However, their high speed made them nearly impossible to hit using traditional aiming techniques. To counter this threat, 20 SCR-584 radar systems were deployed along England's Channel coast to intercept incoming V-1 bombs before they reached London. The 80 guns equipped with proximity-fused shells destroyed hundreds of the flying bombs. On one Sunday alone, 97 out of 101 V-1s were shot down. The statistics revealed a dramatic improvement in anti-aircraft effectiveness. In the first week following deployment along the coast, 17% of all incoming flying bombs entering the coastal defense zone were destroyed by guns. This figure rose to 60% by August 23 and reached 74% by the end of the month, with an exceptional day seeing 82% of V-1s shot down. The efficiency rate improved from one bomb being hit for every 25 Zero shells fired to one for every 100, a 25-fold increase that went beyond mere incremental progress. This event signified the shift where defensive weaponry surpassed the capabilities of attacking aircraft. Observers from Germany stationed on the French coast noted that Von rockets were being effectively neutralized by rapid and precise artillery barrages of 3 or 4 shells at a time, observations that contradicted their previous understanding of anti-aircraft warfare. The German oversight in recognizing the threat posed by SCR-584 was rooted in a significant scientific error. In January 1943, radar specialists led by Professor Abraham Esser advised the High Command that centimeter-wave radar was impractical due to insufficient energy returning to receivers at such frequencies for effective detection. Based on this erroneous theoretical assessment, Germany halted all research into microwave radar technology. When German forces seized a British H-2S radar unit in February 1943 and discovered it operated on centimeter waves, the realization came too late. By then, Germany was already lagging years behind in microwave technology, a gap that could not be bridged during wartime. Throughout the period leading up to this critical juncture, German intelligence consistently misinterpreted accumulating evidence of Allied radar superiority. Reports from pilots of unprecedented anti-aircraft accuracy were attributed to enhanced training, optical sighting systems, or simply an increase in gun numbers. The notion that American engineers had achieved automatic radar tracking at microwave frequencies remained inconceivable until late 1944. Throughout the year 1944, Luftwaffe electronic warfare units operated with equipment designed for a previous era of warfare. Their Fuji 227 Flesberg detector scanned frequencies between 170 and 220 MHz, while the Fuji 350 Naxos covered 25.0 to 3750 MHz, slightly closer to the SCR-584's range, but still inadequate for reliable detection. More fundamentally, German radar detectors were designed to identify search radars that briefly swept beams across aircraft, whereas the SCR-584's conical scanning maintained a continuous lock on single targets, producing emission patterns unrecognized by German equipment as threatening. Thus, Luftwaffe crews flew into radar-guided death traps while their warning receivers remained silent. The system developed by Chrysler Corporation and designated SCR-584 was paired with an array of heavy anti-aircraft guns measuring 490 millimeters in caliber, a British-invented IFF, Identify Friend or Foe unit, a power source, and the M9 gun director. Each component exemplified American engineering prowess. The cavity magnetron generated a staggering 300 kilowatts of microwave power, surpassing the output of entire German radar installations. The servo mechanisms for automated targeting reached a level of precision unmatched by German industry at the time. The M9 director conducted ballistic calculations that would typically require teams of human computers. Integrating these technologies into a single weapon system marked a significant conceptual advancement that eluded German military strategists. Known as the SCR-584 anti-aircraft gun laying system, approximately 1,500 units were deployed in Europe and the Pacific starting early in 1944. Each system could track aircraft moving at speeds up to 600 miles per hour, surpassing any operational aircraft of that era. This advanced capability provided future-proof protection against emerging threats like German jets. By mid-1944, the Luftwaffe was grappling with unsustainable attrition rates. Galland reported that by April 1944, Luftwaffe Reich had lost 38% of its fighter pilots, and Luftwaffe 3 had suffered a 24% loss. Altogether, Germany had lost 489 pilots, including 100 officers, while training centers only supplied 396 new pilots, with 62 being officers. These losses were not just due to aerial combat, but increasingly from anti-aircraft fire that exhibited unmatchable accuracy. Ground attack aircraft, crucial for the Wehrmacht tactical doctrine, became particularly vulnerable when operating within the SCR-584's effective range. In his post-war memoir, The First and the Last, Adolf Galland wrote about how approaching Allied positions in 1944 meant entering areas where death was statistically predicted by enemy fire. The guns did not aim at their current position, but anticipated their future trajectory, leaving no tactics or countermeasures except for relying on luck. In December 1944, during the Ardennes offensive, German forces captured a damaged yet complete SCR-584 near St. With Dr. Hans Plendl, Germany's foremost radar expert, led the technical assessment of this system. His report to High Command was scathing. "The Americans have achieved automatic tracking accuracy we thought unattainable. These devices operate on frequencies that are undetectable and unjamming with current technology. More crucially, they have managed to produce these systems in large quantities, while we continue to grapple with constructing rudimentary prototypes in laboratories. Our lag is not measured in months, but rather years, with no feasible way of closing this gap anytime soon." The captured system revealed groundbreaking innovations that German scientists had previously deemed theoretically impossible. Automatic tracking maintaining continuous lock despite target maneuvers, electronic computation for three-dimensional firing solutions, and seamless integration between radar, computer systems, and weaponry. However, by the time we acquired this knowledge, it was too late to develop effective countermeasures or equivalent technologies. The technological inferiority experienced by Luftwaffe pilots contributed significantly to the January 1945 fighter pilots' revolt. Prominent aces such as Adolf Garland, Johann Steinhoff, and Gunther Lutz confronted Hermann Göring directly about their impossible situation. With 176 confirmed victories, Johann Steinhoff told Göring, "We are no longer fighting enemy pilots. We are battling machines that calculate with mathematics." He emphasized that individual skill had become virtually irrelevant in the face of automation. "Blaming us for a lack of courage is futile because courage cannot overcome technology we do not possess." These were not defeatists, but rather Germany's most decorated warriors, recognizing the obsolescence of traditional military virtues against automated weapons. This realization marked a profound psychological breaking point. Göring's response, relieving Garland of command and threatening courts-martial, underscored leadership's inability to accept technological realities. Even revolutionary aircraft like the Mi-G-2662 jet fighter provided no escape from SCR-584 directed fire systems, despite its speed of 540 mph, making it nearly untouchable by Allied fighters. The radar system designed to track targets at up to 600 mph rendered this advantage meaningless. Oberst-Lieutenant Heinz Baer, one of Germany's most successful jet pilots, later reported, "We believed our speed would protect us from flak. We found that American guns tracked us with incredible precision. Their shells hit exactly where we were heading. Speed offered only a brief respite from the threat of incoming fire, as several of our jets fell victim to anti-aircraft artillery that seemed almost supernatural in its accuracy." The SCR-500, and 84 radar systems' capability to accurately target and neutralize. Jet aircraft highlighted the foresight of American engineering compared to the shortcomings of German planning. Designed to surpass any aircraft operational during 1942, it remained effective even against technologies that wouldn't emerge until late 1944. Production figures indicated a stark industrial disparity, which ultimately doomed Germany despite its tactical ingenuity. For instance, Chrysler Corporation alone produced over 2098 units of the SCR-584, with confirmed production surpassing 17,000 units at minimum. Units from General Electric and Westinghouse were also manufactured, reducing costs from $50,000 to under $10,000 each, and achieving a monthly peak production rate of over 50 units. In comparison, the total German Wurzburg radar production amounted to approximately 1,500 units throughout the war, with combined production of all German radar types estimated at around 4,000 units, each essentially hand-built without significant cost reduction or scaling up in production capacity during the conflict. This discrepancy underscored deeper advantages held by American industrial practices. The SCR-584 was designed to be operated by civilians with only 6 weeks of training, whereas German radar systems demanded engineers and technicians who required months of specialized education. Beyond its technical specifications, the SCR-584 showcased practical benefits that enhanced its effectiveness, such as rapid setup and mobility, allowing it to become operational within 30 minutes upon arrival, far quicker than similar German systems which often took hours to deploy. This swift deployment was particularly advantageous in Italy's dynamic campaign, enabling immediate air defense for advancing forces. Furthermore, the SCR-584 maintained functionality even under adverse weather conditions like rain, snow, and fog that rendered optical systems ineffective, whereas German radar performance suffered significantly during such conditions. Maintenance ease. The modular design enabled operators to replace components without specialized assistance. In contrast, German systems needed trained technicians even for minor fixes. Crew size differences were also notable: 3 operators compared to 8 required for the German Wurzburg radar. Field Marshal Albert Kesselring later testified about this issue. He stated that American radar-guided anti-aircraft fire made tactical air support operations impossible by early 1944. The Wehrmacht, renowned for its combined arms tactics, struggled in the dark while Allied forces monitored everything from above. During the Von flying bomb campaign, clear evidence emerged of significant technological progress. Week 1 saw an interception rate of just 17%. By week 4, this had increased to 60%, and by week 8, it averaged 74%, with a best day recording 82% success. Ammunition efficiency improved 25 times over traditional methods. These figures marked the first instance in military history where defensive artillery consistently outperformed attacking aircraft. Despite being a rudimentary cruise missile flying predictable trajectories, the Von's speed of 400 miles per hour made it nearly impervious to conventional anti-aircraft measures. However, the SCR-584 radar system transformed this equation entirely. German electronic warfare tactics, which were highly effective early in the war against British radars, failed entirely when faced with the SCR-584 system. The Luftwaffe's advanced jamming equipment, designed for meter wave lengths, had no impact on microwave technology. Similarly, German countermeasures such as Duple and chaff, tailored to interfere at meter wavelengths, were ineffective. The failure went beyond mere technical limitations. It also stemmed from a flawed understanding of enemy capabilities. The Germans assumed their adversaries would use similar technologies, failing to consider the possibility that American systems operated on entirely different principles, until captured equipment revealed this disparity. By then, Germany was unable to develop new countermeasures due to resource constraints and time pressures. The SCR-584's impact extended beyond just shooting down aircraft. It rendered German reconnaissance efforts ineffective, leaving Wehrmacht intelligence in a critical information void. German commanders were unable to observe Allied preparations, track troop movements, or identify weaknesses, contributing significantly to strategic failures throughout 1944 and 1945. During the Battle of the Bulge, General der Panzertruppen Hassel von Monteufel, who commanded the 5th Panzer Army, remarked, "We attacked blind in the Ardennes. Our reconnaissance aircraft could not survive over Allied lines. We knew nothing about enemy reserves or movements. Achieving surprise was impossible when only one side had visibility." For Luftwaffe aircrews, the SCR-584 represented a profound psychological blow. Pilots who had honed their skills through years of training and hundreds of missions, earning top honors for valor, found themselves powerless against automated systems. The testimony of survivors highlights this impact. Hauptmann Heinrich Baer, who ended his career with 220 victories, stated, "Fighting enemy pilots was war as we understood it, skill versus skill, courage versus courage, but radar-guided guns were not warfare. They were execution by mathematics. Dying at the hands of a machine's calculations held no sense of honor." This dehumanization of combat had a more profound impact on morale than mere fear of death itself. Luftwaffe pilots embraced mortality as part of their warrior code, but they could not bear the thought of being rendered irrelevant. The degradation of their skills and experience into insignificant factors in an equation they couldn't control was unbearable. Following Germany's surrender, Allied intelligence officers demonstrated the SCR-584 to captured Luftwaffe officials. Their responses ranged from astonishment to bitter acknowledgement. Many expressed relief upon finally understanding what they had been up against. Dr. Wilhelm Runger, who had worked on German radar development, admitted in 1985 that reports contradicting their assumptions about American capabilities were systematically dismissed. They crafted intricate theories to explain the seemingly impossible accuracy of anti-aircraft fire rather than acknowledging the simple truth. The Americans possessed superior technology. This blind arrogance led to the loss of thousands of lives. The German military's failure to recognize American technological superiority was rooted in deeper cultural biases. Despite having pioneered military innovation in the 1930s, the Wehrmacht could not fathom that American engineers had surpassed them scientifically. This myopia persisted even as evidence accumulated throughout 1944. After the war, the SCR-584's technology was adapted for use in the NMP-Q-12 and NMP-M-38 systems, part of a U.S. Army Field Artillery Missile System known as MG-M-5 Corporal. The principles established by the SCR-584, automatic tracking, computer-controlled prediction, and systems integration, became foundational to all subsequent air defense systems. It demonstrated that effective air defense required eliminating human reaction time from engagement processes. This lesson was drawn from the collapse of the Luftwaffe's combat capabilities and influenced military technology development throughout the Cold War era and beyond. Although comprehensive statistics are still hard to come by due to wartime record loss, available data highlights the SCR-584's remarkable effectiveness. The confirmed production figures show a minimum of 17 Zero units manufactured, with Chrysler alone accounting for 2098 documented units, reaching a peak monthly output of over 50 units. In terms of combat performance, on the first night of operations, Anzio achieved the destruction of 7 out of 12 bombers, yielding a kill rate of 58%. During the Vone missile phase, interception success was as high as 82%, and ammunition efficiency saw a 25-fold improvement. On D-Day, 39 units were deployed to provide comprehensive air defense coverage. Technologically, the SCR-584 offered significant advantages. It could detect targets up to 40 miles away, double that of German systems. Its accuracy was within 75 feet compared to Germany's 500-plus foot margin, and it featured fully automatic tracking versus manual operation by the Germans. Setup time for the SCR-584 was just 30 minutes, in contrast to over 2 hours required for German systems. The encounter with the SCR-584 underscores enduring lessons about technological surprises in warfare. Overconfident and constrained by theoretical assumptions, German leaders sent air crews to engage a threat they neither understood nor could counteract. General Paul Ditchman of the Luftwaffe summarized this failure. "We believed what we wanted to believe," he said. Any contradictory evidence was rationalized away, as it contradicted institutional assumptions about American technological capabilities. By the time reality set in, the effectiveness of the Luftwaffe had been severely compromised. The problem did not lie primarily with intelligence gathering, but rather with its interpretation. German observers accurately reported on the efficacy of American anti-aircraft measures. Yet these reports were disregarded due to preconceived notions about America's technical limitations. This cognitive blindness was more detrimental than any security breach could have been. The SCR-584 exemplified American industrial philosophy centered around mass production, standardization, and simplification. Instead of focusing on crafting individual perfect units, engineers designed for efficient large-scale manufacturing. Drawing from automotive industry methods, this approach proved superior to the German emphasis on craft precision for military applications. This contrast also extended to operational philosophies. While the German military culture valued expertise and specialization, the American model relied more on adaptability and widespread application of technology. American design focused on simplification and automation. The SCR-584's success lay in its ability to eliminate human error from radar operation, rendering expertise obsolete. This democratization of cutting-edge technology became crucial during total war. The SCR-584 signaled the end of aerial combat as a contest of individual skill. It ushered in an era of automated warfare that persists today. For the Luftwaffe, this transformation was utterly bewildering. They had begun the conflict as knights of the air and concluded it as victims of advanced calculations. Reflecting on the war years later, Johann Steinhoff offered one of the most perceptive observations. The SCR-584 did more than shoot down our planes. It dismantled our entire understanding of warfare. We believed that courage, skill, and resolve were paramount in battle, but America demonstrated that technology, production, and automation were decisive factors. Superior machines ultimately defeated us despite our warrior prowess. The SCR-584 radar system stands out as one of World War II's most pivotal weapons, not because of the aircraft it destroyed, but for what it symbolized: the triumph of systematic technological superiority over traditional military virtues. The Luftwaffe faced an adversary that could not miss due to the elimination of human error in aiming processes. German pilots never fully grasped the extent of this threat, as their leadership refused to acknowledge its reality. Reports of impossible anti-aircraft accuracy were disregarded as exaggerations, and evidence of automatic tracking was dismissed as inconceivable. Only when German scientists examined captured SCR-584 units did they comprehend the technology's impact. By then, the Luftwaffe had already been rendered ineffective. The Germans were unaware that American radar had decimated their Luftwaffe forces, because admitting this truth would have meant acknowledging a significant deficiency in scientific, industrial, and military innovation. This psychological obstacle remained insurmountable until defeat compelled them to face reality. For the German pilots who encountered it, the SCR-584 was an invisible yet deadly force that calculated their destruction with cold precision, impervious to human bravery or skill. They flew into a virtual death trap where their fate was predetermined before they even arrived. The era of heroic fighter pilots came to an end in the European skies, brought down by American radar that operated silently, responded quickly, and executed lethal missions without hesitation. Beyond its wartime contributions, the SCR-584 set a precedent for modern air defense systems and demonstrated that technological superiority is key to triumphing in warfare. The Luftwaffe discovered this lesson through the gradual erosion of their combat capabilities, aircraft after aircraft, as radar technology calculated and delivered their demise with unerring accuracy. These machines never faltered, never missed their targets, and showed no mercy. Only when it was too late did the Germans realize they were not up against American gunners, but against advanced mathematical principles embedded in radar systems that turned the airspace into a calculated killing zone. Their valor, expertise, and experience became irrelevant as factors they could neither see nor counteract. This grim realization marked the dawn of modern warfare, where victory is determined not by bravery alone, but by technological dominance.